Here I am with Stephen Revell, and we're looking at the 10 steps of the partner journey. Lateral hires, I don't know what you're experiencing. A lot of firms have found this wonderfully controversial. They see the need to bring in these very successful rainmakers in adjacent practice areas and in specific sectors. But to some extent, they sort of seem to loathe them, and they seem to be negotiating special deals for some of these, and they really seem to be upsetting the culture in some of their firms as a way to achieve it. I mean, well, what is the way forward on these lateral hires?
Well, I don't think we can start any conversation about lateral partners without reminding ourselves that there is a 70% failure rate. I mean, that's staggering to me. And I think that failure rate should be the first thing a law firm thinks about when they're thinking about a lateral hire. How are we going to be sure we're going to be one of the 30% in terms of the lateral hire? And I think too many firms are being very reactive. Yeah. Oh my God, we need a partner to do this. Yeah. All of a sudden, very quickly, let's quickly go out into the market.
And they seem to be the headhunters that call everyone up. They get a good CV, and the headhunters are almost making the market, aren't they, in some of these practice areas?
Yes. I mean, they are making the market because that's their job. That's how they get paid. And indeed, they only get paid if somebody moves. And so they have books of partners who they think might move. And they go round the law firm saying, are you looking for anybody? And they reveal they may have somebody. And that's how that market works. But, let's be clear, headhunters are working for themselves, not the law firms in many situations. Yes, law firms hire the recruiter, but is the recruiter saying ever, oh, I'm not sure you need a lateral partner? Are they really challenging the process? And that's really, I think, my overriding point, that rather than firms being reactive, whether they're large or small, they need to think about how are we going to go about laterally hiring partners? What's the process of identifying whether we need anybody? Do we have a realistic business case? Do we have any internal candidates? Maybe they're a year off, but that might be a much better candidate than a so-called quick fix lateral partner. So we've identified a need. Then we need to identify the individual. What due diligence have we done on this individual? Oh, they're number one in Chambers. We should recruit them tomorrow. But actually, no client really likes them. And they manipulated their way into change.
So what's good? What are the things you've had to do in the past before making a lateral hire to make that work?
So I think the thing that has worked best is when we've had a very clear business case, that we've done due diligence, including talking to clients, and that's challenging. I think checking the conflict footprint, I think, is an often forgotten or left too late issue. So making sure that there won't be any conflict problems. I think the chemistry, really important. So I would always, when I was doing lateral hiring for my firm, the lateral hire would meet about 50 partners. And yes, I was from a large firm, but proportionately, and maybe even more importantly in a small firm, the lateral partner needs to meet the other partners. Yes. Do they like them? Are they going to get on? So I think that's really important. But I think the single biggest mistake that firms made is not having a proper integration plan. Yeah. Having a clear, 100-day plan, whatever it might be, of what the lateral partner's got to do. And it's back to the discussion we had on the role of partners. What do we expect of that lateral partner? And what are we as a firm and as individual partners going to do to integrate that partner? Are we going to take them around all our clients? Are we going to introduce them to our best associates? Which team are we going to put them in? Which partner is going to have responsibility, accountable responsibility, for the success of that lateral hire? I'm using phrases and words that firms will find somewhat alien because they haven't thought about it.
Because it does seem to be at the moment, and this might just be at the moment, a power imbalance for these heavy hitters saying, I will come to your firm and I will provide everything for you. And this temptation for some of the firms that don't have clarity about what they're trying to achieve or how to develop their own people, they almost hold on to this lateral hire as the person that's going to come in and save the firm. To what extent do you think it's right for those people to say they should come in as salaried partners, or do you think that's just a far too high a risk to bring in lateral hires into equity?
Well, I think the market will tell you, in the sense that if you're trying to bring in a heavy hitter who's an equity partner in their existing firm and say, oh, we're going to make you a salaried partner and see if this works out.
See how far that gets you.
That partner will not join you.
Yes, yeah.
Would be my guess, unless they're coming from a much smaller firm and see a much bigger opportunity. But generally speaking, if somebody is an equity partner, they will want to be an equity partner. So I think seeing that proving ground route, really difficult when you're laterally hiring. And also you're sending all sorts of wrong messages. We think you might work out, but we're not totally sure, therefore we want an exit strategy. Now, having said that, even if you don't have that conversation, you need a 1, 2, 3 year plan that you share with the lateral partner as what will good look like. And if it's not working, the sooner you recognize that, the better it is for the firm, and ultimately the better it is for the individual. But I think I'm going to use an old-fashioned word. I think it's just not fair to bring somebody in with a reputation to see if it works and then bin them if it doesn't. And the firm's got to try really hard at integrating somebody. They've gone to the trouble of hiring as a lateral partner.
And that's it, isn't it? The firms that almost talk about the lateral hires as if they are from a different planet.
Yes.
And when it comes to that remuneration process, is there trust on both sides? I think seems to be a key issue, where the people that are homegrown have had many years of trusting the processes to reward them in the right way. But there's a lot of mutual suspicion from some of those major heavy hitters that come into firms, isn't there?
There is, and that's led to, in some markets, the propensity to have so-called guaranteed minimums. You'll join the system, but we guarantee you'll get X in the first 3 years. And that's also led to, people that seem to be not meeting the criteria at year 3 and jumping. And some of them are now on their third firm guaranteeing their remuneration. They've run their whole career on the basis of guarantees, not performance.
And the current people thinking, why are you bringing Stephen and guaranteeing him revenue when he's never performed and we don't know if we don't even know what he's going to be like and how he'll fit within the family?
Well, I think that raises... so if I put integration as my first mistake most law firms make, the thing I would put second on my list is ensuring partner buy-in to actually bringing in this partner on this financial basis. Because if by bringing somebody in, there's no discussion, they're just dropped into a team, A, you won't get the integration I've been talking about, but B, you will get a huge amount of resentment along the lines you're talking about. And that may mean you lose some of your existing partners. So you've actually made matters worse by bringing in a lateral. As well as the energy that is going to be wasted around the lack of dynamics between that new partner and the existing partners. So having a really clear understanding from your existing partners, especially those who are going to directly interface with the lateral partner, second biggest mistake law firms make. A favorite story, I'll just tell you a favorite story in that regard. Managing partner of large US law firm rings the head of department in London and says, oh, we just laterally hired a partner for you. They start on Monday morning. And that was the first time the head of department in London knew about that lateral hire. I find that astonishing. How is that ever going to work?
So someone tells you they have a great book of business. Will you ever find out? To what extent are those expectations ever met when actually someone does come and join you in your firm?
I am probably the most skeptical person in the world about books of business. I remember when I became US managing partner for my firm and was busy laterally hiring. That's how we built the firm in the US. And therefore I interfaced with headhunters and lots of lateral partners. And I used to start the conversation about I don't believe in books of business. And they'd look horrified because that was their key selling point, whether as a headhunter or less so as an individual partner. In practice, I think it's really interesting how certainly in larger firms or in firms that are dominant in particular markets, how little transference there really is because of institutional relationships between firms and clients. And although a partner may think they're instrumental in that relationship, there's actually a resistance to change, which means that most partners in most situations don't actually deliver on their book of business. So I would look at the book of business as an illustration of how good that partner is at driving revenue, of building client relationships. And then it's for that lateral partner to adjust to the new platform, hopefully a better platform. That's why they're joining the firm they're joining, to be able to drive similar revenue, but likely from different clients. And so I use books of business as a test of performance, not as something that they would bring with them on Monday morning and there'd suddenly be this huge flow of revenue. Now, that doesn't mean to say that client shouldn't be, that partner shouldn't be encouraged and supported in doing work for their former clients, obviously in an appropriate manner, subject to all sorts of, restrictions that there might be. But you can encourage that. But the focus should be really upon what that lateral partner can do with the new firm. And that brings me back to business case. Your business case was hopefully more than we need revenue, let's hire a partner with a book of business. It's we've got this huge amount of work that we could be doing if we had a partner to do it. So most of the lateral partners I hired, this is quite an extreme statement, we were bringing in because we had the business for them and actually didn't want the clutter of a book of business.
Because you're looking to unlock something or open a door to another area of work or something that will be
something that
synergetic.
you've got, but you can't deliver on.
You can't unlock it. And I have to laugh, there's a huge contradiction between those people that say they bring a book of business with those that are actually doing the best they can in their current firms to embed those client relationships. So for two of our London clients, one of their major partners moved from one to the other. And when he went to the new firm, he was able to say, I'm sorry, I'm not bringing a book of business with me because I did such a good job in my last place. I cross-sold, I embedded. They are stuck to my old firm, and I'm going to sort of, with your help, start building out when I land in the new firm.
So that would make me want to hire them.
And then are we seeing a difference with the American type approach, which is if we do think the market is more fluid, I will take my clients with me. Hence, I will guard them and put my arms around them because that's my future business until I retire. Well, why on earth would I be crazy enough to embed them in my current firm? Because because that's my career.
I think the belief in the book of business is indeed, particularly in the US, a driver for behavior that is not collaborative, that isn't our client, is more my client. And so I think that drives that negative behavior. But I think as more and more firms realize the illusory nature of books of business, hopefully you could argue that behavior should change. But I think that behavior will change more through the leadership of those firms and the development of a collaborative culture than it will suddenly trying to convince every partner that they don't want to position themselves as the best lateral.
So you've brought in the lateral, you haven't done your proper preparation and things aren't working out because they haven't been able to bring the work with them. I mean, where does that end up?
Well, I was about to say it ends badly. It needs to end because it's not good for the firm and it's not good for the individual.